My journey as a dietitian has definitely changed over the past 6 years. I now practice, if you don't know me, using a weight neutral approach with clients. And if you have questions about what that means, just put weight neutral or weight in the comments, and I can send you a blog post I wrote all about that and a training that I had, just explaining what that is. But right now, I practice using a weight neutral approach and a health at every size aligned focus lens, and it wasn't always that way. So let me tell you a little bit about my story and why my practice has changed. I don't use restriction. I don't use weight as a goal for health. And some of you guys, that might surprise you since I'm a dietitian. Some of you guys might feel a little relief when you hear that. What we do is we focus on health promoting behaviors in this group. Intuitive eating is something I talk about a lot with you guys. It's tuning back into your body's signals. It's actually the polar opposite of dieting. And I know this time of the year, we're kind of heading into a month when diets are everywhere. It made so much sense to me when I read the book Intuitive Eating. And actually, I could relate to it from my own personal story. So I'm going to share my personal story with you guys today. I've been practicing now for about coming up on 6 years, diet-free. And I was very steeped in diet culture, you guys, prior to what I'm doing with you and the work we're doing here today. I think if you would have asked me 5, 6 years ago, I would have been helping women get a flat belly, lose weight, all that. Everything that we're seeing and we're hearing this time of year. But now my approach is so different, and I wanted to talk to you about why and what that is today. It's something that I use personally as well as professionally. So I really had this come to Jesus moment where I knew weight loss was not the answer. Everything that I'd been doing, everything that I had been taught in school, it was literally the opposite. It was after I discovered this book, Intuitive Eating. And then I realized, gosh, we're being trained the opposite. We're being trained as dietitians to give people disordered eating around food. And I had a lot of digging and a lot of searching to do up to this point in my career and what I'm doing here with you guys in the Food Confidence Club. I mentioned a lot on my social platforms and on my website about that dietitians aren't really taught this non-diet approach in school. This is something I've completely had to learn and grow and heal from outside of school. So when I went to school, we learned about clinical nutrition, and a lot of times that's what dietitians do. They go to school, they come out, they work in a hospital, so we know everything about biochemistry and macronutrients and how food is broken down into the body, metabolized, absorbed, all of that stuff. But it wasn't until years later, you guys, that I began to learn more about intuitive eating and health at every size. And I had no idea what any of this meant. You guys, I remember wondering what this dietitian was talking about when she mentioned it to me. And it was probably back in 2013, 2014, maybe 2015, around that time frame. And I remember thinking, what is this lady talking about? I just put out, I authored a book on how to heal your gut by eliminating foods. I put out clean eating plans, detoxes. And so I'm sitting here thinking, what is this woman saying? You can't eat everything? That doesn't even make sense. So let me just say, we'll fast forward to now. I love everything about this work that I'm doing with you guys, what I'm doing with clients today, the women in this group, in this community. I love helping others heal not only their relationship with food, but their relationship with themselves, with their body. Body image is a huge piece of this work that, even after the food, I realized that that was a piece that could not be ignored. And it took me a long time to get here, to where I am right now, because I had to heal my relationship with food and exercise and my body first. So today I help a lot of women that are chronic dieters. Maybe they dieted for their whole life. You guys, I put a poll up in this group, I guess it was like a month ago now. I said, how many of you guys have been on more than 2 diets? If you're watching this live, I want you to, or later, hashtag replay if you're watching it so I can see, come back and answer any questions. But if you have been on more than 2 diets in your life, shoot me an emoji in the comments below so I can see you. Y'all, I love helping people heal their relationships with food. And it took me a long time to get here. So it wasn't just a 30-day fix or even a 75 hard. It was a lot more work than that. But today I help these women that are chronic dieters and ones that have had, if you've been on diets for decades, more than 2 diets, maybe most of your life now you've been on diets, it can disrupt your internal cues, your hunger cues, your fullness cues, the way your body's trying to communicate with you. And honestly, these women come to me and they come into this community and into this program and they're starting to notice even problems, like maybe they're experiencing some elevated blood sugar, or maybe they have high cholesterol. So what I do is I help women navigate how to use food as a way to support them in this journey. And let me tell you a little bit about how I got here now. So I did exactly what we were all taught. We were trained as dietitians. I went to school to train people to get healthier. And I thought that we all had to eat a certain specific way to be healthy. And I was meticulously following everything that we were taught in school. I was logging time at the gym. Gosh, I remember logging so much time in the gym or on the roads. I started running and I was type A. I approached my nutrition and I carried this disordered eating, disordered relationship with food, exercise, my body into my 20s and into my 30s. I didn't know that at the time, I did not know that discriminating someone for their weight is so much more harmful than just eating a cookie. So here I am creating meal plans and ebooks on how to detox. I'm selling them online, but most of all, women that came to me and even children that came to me, I would use a scale in my practice. And I would pass out meal plans, and I went on TV shows to talk about my bikini body programs and workouts. Like I said, I wrote a book on, excuse me, sorry guys, I felt it coming on. But I wrote a book on eliminating food for your gut health, for healing your gut. And I realized after all this time, I was getting more and more clients coming to me, and they weren't seeing the results they were hoping for. And I felt lost, like I wasn't able to help them. And I just remember thinking, this isn't about nutrition. It was like this aha moment that I was just like, I got real with everything. And I was like, wait a second, there's no shortage of nutrition information out there online. I mean, if it was about nutrition, you could go find it. You could Google it. But that's not actually the root issue. If it was, we'd all be good by now. And we're not. And so that was like kind of this aha moment that I had. And I noticed the work that I was doing with clients at the time was I was actually creating fear around foods for them. When I was handing them meal plans and I was saying, okay, you need to cut this out, you need to cut that out, take this supplement, drink this powder, all the things, they might do well for a little while. And you guys might know this feeling. If you do, shoot me an emoji or let me know in the comments. But they might do well for a little while and then they'd fall off the wagon. And then they would be ashamed. They would beat themselves up about it. They'd be afraid to come and see me because they didn't want to talk about what happened, because what were they feeling? Now I know what they were feeling. They were feeling shame. So what I was doing was I was perpetuating the problem. And my clients were consumed with food guilt because I set unrealistic expectations. And so my outlook changed entirely when I read the book Intuitive Eating. That's how it started. And Health at Every Size. And I began to apply the research and the principles with my clients. And I realized that, all the years I had been giving them these clean eating plans, these resets, that I was sending them down the wrong path. And I was manipulated by diets. And, it was the only thing that I knew. So I guess that was like a shocking moment to realize like I had to stop, and I didn't quite know how to turn around, to do a 180, to completely just stop. And so I was on the fence for a while. I began to feel the call to change the way that I was working with women and base my work on these principles of intuitive eating, and turn away from diets and turn away from the food rules that plague us. And so that's when I realized that I had been a victim of diet culture. And I wanted to change this, and I resonated with this message so much, this message of food freedom and body freedom. I was researching, I was learning, and I began to change those things in my life. I began to work on changing my attitudes and my mindset around food and around my body. So despite my best efforts as a dietitian, you guys, with the meal plans, with the detoxes, no one was able to keep up with my unrealistic expectations, my expectations to do this 10-day reset and give you a bikini body. I mean, so many of the things that I was teaching clients back then was actually causing a lot of the gut distress that I see in clients when they come to me today. So I realized this traditional approach to nutrition and dietetics did not work for clients long term. And everything I was doing with them was focused on external things, not understanding their body, not understanding its internal cues and its signals and how it was communicating to them. My clients did not trust their body to signal when they were hungry. They were confused about what they should eat. They didn't even know what they preferred, because here I was telling them, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Here's a meal plan. This is exactly what you need to eat. I'm not them. Like, they didn't even know their preferences. So look, I get it. Sometimes we don't know what's going on with our body, and we have gut or hormonal challenges. And I do work with a lot of women that experience this. And so we seek out some type of external help, but in turn we lose our ability to access those internal cues when we start cutting out foods and cutting out this and that. We are born with those internal cues as children, and I love to see children eat because they're completely intuitive until someone starts to put food rules things into their mind, and then things change and we develop our thoughts, patterns, and behaviors. But we're all born intuitive eaters. So as kids, we eat intuitively and we eat in line with our bodies. When we're hungry, we stop when we're full. We want to go play and run and be outside. It's so different. So we don't demonize cravings as children and everything until we get to elementary school. And at this point, maybe you start to hear things, or maybe you don't know how to interpret signals anymore. I hear stories about, kids in the lunchroom only getting like 20 minutes to eat, and then they, if that, because there's a line, and then by the time they get to their seat, they're rushed outside, and it's very chaotic from what I've heard some parents tell me in school. So it just gets to the point where you don't know how to interpret your body's signals anymore. So of course it's normal for us as we grow up, as we age, to look outside of ourselves for external information. So if this is you, first of all, you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, we all did it. I created this. I was creating those things, all those meal plans and things like that, detoxes. So you aren't doing anything wrong, but here's my challenge to you. Instead of trying to manipulate food or eliminating everything or meticulously counting, obsessing about things in your head, maybe this is my reflection for you today. Maybe it's time to learn what your body is telling you so that you can nourish it and help better it and better your health by supporting those body signals instead of just eliminating everything or cutting this out or cutting that out or meticulously counting this or that, calories, carbs, macros, whatever it is. As we grow up, we're basically taught to ignore our body signals and our body's cues and what it's telling us. And look, honestly, our body does a great job of really regulating itself, and it's trying to inform us if we can listen to it. If we know those signals and those cues, it informs us of what it needs. Somewhere in the mix between like social media and maybe the way these diets and things online are marketed, we just lose our ability to know our own internal cues, what we were created with, what we were born with. And we're taught this is actually not what we should be doing. And so it's about coming back home to your body and learning to trust that again. So what I've learned through working with women is that they're really, really tired of dieting. And I'm venture to guess, if you made it this far with me through the live today and you're in this group called Ditching Diets Together, that you're probably really tired of dieting too. So if that's you, put me in comments. And if you don't know exactly how to let go of dieting, let me know. Put how in comments. Because even if women don't know how to let go of dieting, they're ready, usually. And they're interested, and they want to accept themselves more in the body that they're in. Then what happens is, when a health issue presents itself, you guys, there's like a whole new set of problems. And I see this a lot with women who they're being accepting of their body as long as it's behaving for them. And let me know by an emoji if you can relate to this, or let me know. But when health issues present itself, it can kind of trigger that mindset to want to fix everything. So I see a lot of health issues pop up, and this almost brings like a fresh new layer of stigma. I think what could be happening is women could still be holding on to some things internally. And that is, it's really not okay to have a body accepting, trusting place. So being okay with your body just as it is. So I learned through all of this that it is okay and it's okay to learn new things from a new perspective. I still love health and nutrition, you guys. I'm not ditching health and nutrition or any of that, but what I'm doing is I don't want to moralize it. I believe in intuitive eating, and I believe in intuitive living so much, and I've worked through my own journey to heal my relationship with food and to understand my own internal bias and understand my own bias around weight in general. Intuitive eating, it changed my life, but I don't want to moralize food anymore. Intuitive eating changed the lives, not just for me, but for the women that I work with, for the women that go into these programs, into the Food Confidence Club, the women here in this group. You guys, it allowed me to not be so preoccupied with food in my mind, and helped me to really finally learn how to live my life. I found that when I wasn't always thinking about food, that I could actually have mental energy to enjoy things in life, and I would have more focus and more clarity. I began to just feel like a genuine joy again, because foods became fun, and the other pieces of my life were more fun because I wasn't obsessed about food. So now I can just soak in the present moments in my life and truly enjoy it without sitting there constantly tracking or thinking about calories or whatever it is. So I just followed my gut instinct, and this is where it brought me to work with clients. And it's scary because right now, this time of year, companies are profiting off of dieting. And all I can say is I'm just really proud of the work that I do with women, and I feel really grateful, and I feel really honored for each and every one of you that join me today on this live to hear my story, that come into the programs, that come into Food Confidence Club as memberships, that join the challenge. We've got a challenge coming up that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But before I talk to you about that, I just want to let you know that it is my mission in this group to help you break free from any beliefs that are limiting you and holding you back from the women that you were created to be. And when your gut calls, there's no denying it. You just listen. And that's what I did. That's why I'm here. And if this resonated with you guys today in any way, I want to invite you to join the Habits Before Hustle Challenge. We have 7 days left before the doors close. And what it is we're looking at fresh, new health habits for the new year that are not related to diets. We're going to be focused on tuning back into our body's signals and what it's trying to tell us when it comes to food. We're going to be focused on self-compassion for ourselves and our body, accepting our body where it is right now. We can't even progress, move forward, grow towards better health if we don't accept ourselves right where we're at. So giving ourselves grace. So all of those things and more in the Habits Before Hustle Challenge. If you're interested, put HBH in comments and join us. I'll leave the link below too, so you can learn more about the challenge, the giveaways, the motivation, the community, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the challenge next week. And I do want to say, no live next week. It'll be day one of our challenge on Monday, and I'll be traveling. So I will not be able to come onto a Facebook Live next week, but I will be starting the challenge with you, and I'm excited to do that January 10th. All right, guys, have a good day.